Welcome back.
What up?
Another episode of Getting Real with Matt and Anthony. Boy, I'm sure we got a lot to talk about today.
I know. What do you want to talk about today, honestly?
Let's talk about the weather. We'll start off easy with the weather.
How about it?
It boggles my mind that people, and there's how many weather people, meteorologists, I don't want to offend anyone. Actually, I do. That's what this whole point of this fucking podcast is. But how many people do you know can be paid so much, be on TV every day, be so wrong every day with what they do, and yet never lose their fucking job?
I think they just sit in the room and literally throw darts at the wall
With their eyes
whenever
closed.
it hits.
Like,
and wherever it hits, it's as long as it's like in the season,
right?
We're good.
We
know it's going to be cold.
Right.
It could snow. It might rain. It might not do anything. We know it's not going to be sunny. We live in Pittsburgh.
Well, we live in Pittsburgh, right?
So we know it's going to be gray. Yeah.
I did a video. I did a video a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. It's actually on my Instagram channel where I recorded live outside.
Oh yeah, you sent that to me.
I sent it to you, right?
Yeah.
With a screenshot of the weather, the current weather, where I was currently standing, and then live video with me and it being
snowing.
Sunny. No, it was literally sunny. The not a cloud in the sky, but the weather app and the weather people said that it was cloudy with a chance of rain.
What we stood there yesterday and we said no rain today
till noon or
till
1-ish. Till 2.
2
That's right. It
o'clock.
was 2 o'clock.
And it's now
It started about 9 o'clock.
And it's not like a drizzle.
No.
And it has since ruined the day. Driving up here is brutal.
It just boggles my mind. Again, I've said it for years. Who else can be so wrong every single day at their job? So wrong and bad, apparently, at their job, and yet get paid so much and keep their job. If I was that wrong and I was that bad at my job,
You'd be broke.
I'd be broke.
Everyone would be.
We'd be out of business.
We chose the wrong profession.
I guess so. No, not really. I don't want to be a weather person.
I mean, Joe DiNardo was the man, though.
You know what's funny is I feel like the old weather people, the old generation,
whatever
were
Joe
way
said,
more accurate than they are today with all the technology.
Whatever Joe said, he was spot on. Joe was never wrong. Nobody ever cussed out Joe DiNardo.
It's crazy though. I do. I feel like the
These
old
young
guys
people have no idea what the hell we're talking about right
like
now.
Joe DiNardo. Who's Joe DiNardo?
that?
We're showing our age, guys.
Unfortunately,
Rob, not a word.
Rob, do you know who Joe DiNardo is?
Joe DiNardo.
You didn't know who Ric Flair was 10 minutes ago. There's no way. There's no way you know who Joe DiNardo is.
Speaking of Ric Flair, what is going on with Hollywood? P. Diddy gets his house raided by the FBI and Homeland Security yesterday.
He's gone.
And then flees to a non-extradition country. I sent you the screenshot of his jet.
How did they let him get his flight log and get out of here in time? Like how?
What boggles my mind. Right.
How did they know? They knew that was happening. You mean to tell me that the dude's almost a billionaire? Of course he has a jet. Right. Did you not think that maybe we should, check the FF? Check with the flight logs and see if he's ready to go.
Right.
Like clearly.
I know we like to say, well, it depends on whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. Republicans and we like to presume innocence until proven guilty, right?
Listen,
Democrats are the complete opposite. They assume you're guilty and then you have to prove
he's pulling an Aaron Hernandez. He's hanging it up.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
He ain't built. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not built to go through all that right now.
But that's only the tip of the iceberg. How many more are there?
Well, I mean, you look at R. Kelly.
Yeah.
R. Kelly just didn't have the money to get out of town in time. So now he's sitting in the clink.
But how did they not seize his assets and stuff like that?
I read this morning that they are looking for the actual videos.
So they're still trying to find the evidence.
Yes. So they need a
search warrant.
Yeah. So they need the evidence to charge him.
Yeah, to actually bring charges.
So
I mean, they were cuffing. They were. Did you see the video of them walking the guys out in cuffs and backwards?
Yo, did you see the video of the neighbor that left in the Bentley this morning and was saying, put the window down and was like, did they bring busloads of young people here at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Holy shit.
He goes, they don't even try and hide it. I got to find the link and send it to you.
Why isn't the neighbor doing something about it? Why doesn't the neighbor speak up? That's what I mean. Like all these people didn't speak up.
Did. I don't.
Did you see that? Did you see that celebrity trainer thing I sent you yesterday on Instagram?
Oh, his trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said his family would be dead. His family would be gone. A bunch of people sent me that actually. Yeah. I mean, but he's gone.
Well, he's gone. Yeah, but
listen, he knew this was happening. He moved money out of bank accounts.
Yeah, of course.
It's already over in some offshore account that no one can touch.
Well, what was the rumor? We don't want to get too graphic on here, but what was a couple of weeks ago? You told me the rumor.
I forget what that one even was. Dude, there were so many of them going on right now.
And so you knew something was coming. Something was going to go down soon.
Did you see the one I sent you again this morning about that one dude that predicted this was going to happen back in December?
Back in December.
And then he was talking about all the songs, what they meant back in the day, like when we were young, like in the early 2000s.
How much of Hollywood do you think is just like, dude, so many are. Like,
I think so many. Not to offend anybody, but I think all the blue people.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein,
okay, look at Wahlberg though.
Yeah,
Wahlberg turned down $30 million because he wouldn't work with Tom Hanks's dumbass.
Right.
60 million or whatever much it was. So he's out of there.
Right.
I mean,
some have integrity, but like, I mean, I agree with you. You got to look at it. Like all of Jeffrey Epstein's clients or visitors to his island on his jet, they're all liberals.
Well,
majority of them are all liberals. My thing. And not a single one has been brought down.
Well, I feel like this is like another distraction.
Right. I agree.
Diddy's taking the fall
for something much bigger.
Yeah. Why has no one been brought up yet?
Right.
I don't understand.
So many people were there.
Someone just bought his island, and there's still nobody has.
And there's so many first-person accounts of what was going on, and stories from people that were there, girls that were there, boys that were, and yet no one, because they're all elite. They're politicians, they're celebrities, they're actors, they're musicians. They get away with it,
and his girl's
until they don't.
Still sitting in jail.
She's still sitting in jail,
but no one can hear what she has to. No one will let her talk or say what she has to say.
Why? The thing that boggles my mind is why is nothing being done?
I can't believe she's still alive. Truthfully, that blows my mind. Or she's not in jail. You know what I mean? Who knows? See what she's doing.
Conspiracy theory route all we want, right? Which I mean, there's some I buy into for sure.
I don't know, dude. The whole Hollywood thing, I guess.
It'll be interesting to see. But again, it's weird that it's just all of a sudden happening in the beginning of an election year again. You don't hear anything for years, right? And then all of a sudden, dude, these things start coming out now.
If Trump had any ties to the Epstein Island bullshit,
they would have.
That shit would have been out 3 years ago, 4 years ago. He would have been tarred and feathered right now in public square.
They tried blasting Trump for, I guess, Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein were at one of Trump's parties or something like that, and he had shook hands with them or whatever, and they tried tagging onto that and talking about how, but none of the flight logs, no records of him ever on the island, so that went nowhere really, really quick.
Dude, the guy never drank in his life,
right? Exactly.
Like I don't think, and he doesn't have trouble getting women. Clearly, I mean, if you look at it,
he's evil.
If you look at the track history of chicks he has, I mean, it's not like
TDS, man, Trump derangement syndrome. They just can't stand the guy. They don't know why, but they can't stand the guy
because he's good at his job.
Yeah, this country never ran better. I'll tell you that much.
No bullshit, no wars.
No, and this whole political fucking warfare and election interference with all these lawsuits. I mean, again, it just goes to show all they want to do is get him. They don't care how. They just want to get him,
and he just keeps going.
Right. I mean,
like, he doesn't need this.
You want to talk about the mental resiliency? Yeah.
I mean, like, for 70, how old is he? 74?
70 something, yeah. Mid 70s. I mean, talk about resiliency. I mean, the shit being thrown at this guy, and the guy's literally bouncing from Florida to New York, back to Florida, back to New York, down to Georgia, back to Florida, like on a daily. Like, you know how much I travel, and it's fucking exhausting, and I'm 43. And then, I'm not going to court hearings. I'm not having to sit there, being deposed.
No, you're going to look at properties,
right? I mean, it's crazy to see what they're trying to throw at this guy,
dude. And he doesn't need this. The dude's a billionaire,
right?
He owns.
Well, and he said that for years. He goes, "I don't need to be doing this."
That's what he's trying. That's what I don't understand. Everyone just needs to step back and look at what he's trying to accomplish. He's trying to take all the bullshit and all the corrupt shit out of it.
But that's why they're fighting so hard.
And that's why they're doing it.
Because they know they're corrupt and they've had it really easy and cushy for so long. I mean, how does someone...
Did you see Biden's net worth?
No. What is
in the last 40 years?
Well, that's what I was going to talk about, Nancy Pelosi's, right? So how does someone who makes $200,000 a year be worth $300 million?
Yeah, they're like over a couple $100 million now. Like in 2000...
As a
like in 2011, he was worth like he was worth like I think it was like $12 million or $20 million or something.
Yeah.
Now it's through the roof.
Right. How does 200?
You make 400 grand a year as a president.
You can be really good at investing, but you can't go from 20 million to a couple $100 million in 10 years.
Dude, I just, it's comical. And these people still are hung up on it.
Oh, yeah. They ignore it. They ignore it. He's
doing a great job.
Right. It's willful ignorance because they don't want to know the truth. They don't want to see, I take it back. They don't want to see the truth. Because they can't admit it. Because they can't admit they were wrong. Period.
I don't think you have to admit. I mean, it's the numbers.
Well, I mean, look at the people still hanging on from COVID, still believing that, we should have listened to the government and safety trumps freedom. And, the government here is here to help you. Let me look, if you believe the government is here to help you, I got a fucking oceanfront condo to sell you in Arkansas.
They're nice there.
They are.
They're really nice.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. Good deal.
Right on the beach. Beautiful property.
With a pool?
With a pool.
Oh, nice.
Of course.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. We had no wars. Gas was peanuts. Everyone was working.
Inflation was 2.5%. I mean, everything. Unemployment was 2.5%, 3%.
And there was no wars.
No wars.
No bullshit.
4 wars now?
I don't know. After these idiots just went to Moscow, I don't know what they were thinking. Right. You go do that where the leader.
Don't even get me started on Israel and Hamas. Like these people that are talking about ending the genocide. I'm like, do you not understand where us? And I'm Jewish, and I'm a proud Jew. Do you not understand like the history here? You don't think that Jews were here for thousands of years in that same spot? And then they want to talk about, again, I don't want to go down this route too much because it really gets to me. But you have these American-born Muslims that are talking about this genocide in Gaza, not putting 2 and 2 together and going, wait a minute, it's war. First of all, there's going to be casualties of war, but that war wouldn't have started again if Hamas had not murdered hundreds of innocent people at a concert out of the blue. So they can't fight back. They can't try to eradicate a terrorist organization. And now people are afraid to call them a terrorist organization, but we've been calling them a terrorist organization for 30 fucking years. And then they talk about this Zionist concept, right? And they try to talk about how Zionism's bad. Let's kind of put this in perspective a little bit, right? There's 40 some Muslim-based countries in this world, right? None of them are accepting refugees from Gaza, first of all. There's one Jewish state, one country that is a Jewish-based country state, right? One. Why is it so bad that we want one country to call home, to feel safe in, when millions upon millions of us were exterminated during World War II and the Holocaust? Like, all we want is one place. That's all they want, to call home, to call a safe place. There's 40 plus Muslim countries out there. There's one Jewish state. Why? And they make this thing to be out this bad concept. Zionism isn't bad. I mean, the way that they try to spin it, looks bad, right? And people buy into this shit. I have people that are Muslim and supposedly, I don't even want to call them friends, they're colleagues, and they're like, we're not anti-Jew, we're anti-Zionism. I'm like, if you're anti-Zionist, you're anti-Jew, because all we want is one place to call home. That's it.
Dude, war is just stupid.
I agree.
Especially in today's,
but there's casualties of war regardless.
Especially in today's day and age.
We're not the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, isn't showing up and murdering hundreds of thousands of innocent people at a concert. They're fighting back. They're firing back on Hamas targets that they have been fired on. But there's always innocent casualties of war. I'm sorry, there is, and they're trying to negotiate the ceasefire with a terrorist organization. That's worked really, really well in the past, let me tell you.
We didn't have none of these issues when Trump was in office.
We sure as shit didn't.
He eradicated ISIS, killed al-Baghdadi.
Right.
And then Sleepy Joe goes in there, pulls everybody out.
And shit turns to hell in a handbasket.
Leaves all our military equipment over there.
Yep.
ISIS has it again now. Here we go.
What's funny, you look at the weapons Hamas has, they're American-made fucking weapons.
They all
Where
are.
did they get them?
That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time today to go down that road about, but it's just ridiculous because there was no war 4 years ago. There wasn't even an inkling of that.
No.
No one was dumb enough to even entertain that. Trump was over there with Kim Jong-un. They were shaking hands. Everyone was good.
Everyone was in check.
Putin was in check. Everyone was good.
Yep.
And then...
Well, because Biden's weak.
But
liberals are weak.
Do people not see this? Like, what do you watch? Like, it frustrates
CNN,
me.
MSNBC.
It frustrates me to no extent.
I mean, but like, so there was a clip of CNN yesterday with Trump coming on talking about how his bond got extended out 10 days and dropped by more than half.
Right.
To
175.
Right. And they show about 30 seconds of Trump talking about it, and then they cut him off because he was starting to go down a narrative that they didn't want to show. So they're not showing everything. So they're not independent. They're not independent media. They're not independent journalists. They are liberal, political entertainment at this point, because it's not even news. Because news is reporting both sides with no bias, right?
It is.
And no one is doing that. Let's be honest. Not even Fox, Newsmax sure isn't. None of them are reporting both sides with no bias. They are reporting only what they want to show, what their beliefs are, to try to steer the narrative. That's the problem.
Not to go back to the war thing, but I don't think that people here understand how fucked up those other countries are with the terrorist organizations and what they do to innocent people. I don't care what religion you are.
Right.
If you guys actually went online and went on some of these crazy websites that these terror organizations post these videos to, like the YNC.com or crazyshit.com, and you see what they do to innocent people because they believe in another religion.
Raping kids, like, raping minors, raping women, beheading kids.
Everyone. I mean, putting people, lighting them on fire, chaining them to trees, blowing them up.
Around.
Yeah. I mean, like, you guys have these people have no idea. They just see what they see on the news and they go with it. They have no idea. Like,
and they take they take these crazy biased posts on social media and take it at face value and believe everything that's said instead of actually doing their own research and actually looking into it. Because again, I think it goes back is they don't really want to know. They only want to think their side. That's what they want to believe. That's what they spew. And so they just keep pushing forward with that. And that's the sad part. And that's honestly, but that's also why we've talked about it before. As much as social media can be a really good thing, it's the downfall of society.
100%.
It has completely divided people. It has completely pushed people apart. It has recreated hate and bullying in this country.
It shows a world that doesn't really exist in real life.
It's the highlight reel. Yeah. And we've talked about that in previous episodes. It's just, I remember stories. My great aunt was in Auschwitz when it was liberated. My great uncle was in another concentration camp when the war ended. I remember them telling me stories. I remember them having the tattoos on their forearms.
Yeah, the numbers.
Their inmate number.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing the stories. Both Jewish. My grandparents escaped Nazi Germany during World War II. We still to this day, now both of them are long gone. They passed when I was 16 and 17, or 15 and 16. We still don't know to this day, even my mother, it's her parents. We have no idea how they actually came to this country. There's no record of them coming to this country at all. So we know they got smuggled in at some point, right? They didn't come through Ellis Island. We have no idea.
That's where my dad came through.
Right. So we don't know. But I remember, and they refused to talk about it. But the stories that they would tell us about the war, the stories my great aunt and uncle would tell us about being in the concentration camps. Like, to me, this hits home because, I'm three generations removed from that, right? Like, my mom's first generation American, I'm second. I remember those stories distinctly. And that's why when I hear these people talking about this and, looking at and talking the way that they do and okay with the hate and the murdering and the anti-Semitism that is being brought back up again in this country. I mean, the rise of anti-Semitism is astounding, even on college campuses. And it's like, and it goes back to me thinking here, believing or going like, I can't imagine any Jew at this point actually voting liberal ever again. But my mom will. And that's the crazy part, right? It's like, I know my mom will vote Democrat, but my mom's a Jew. But the rise of anti-Semitism in this country and worldwide again is just, it's astounding. And it's honestly, it's scary.
Don't you sit like, Mom, if you voted the other way, there wouldn't be a war?
I can't. She's one of those people that she won't reason. She refuses to see it. She only wants to see what she sees. And like, And at that point, I can't have a conversation with her. Love her to death. She's my mom, but we don't even go down that route. And then but then she wants to complain about how much everything costs nowadays.
That's a good holiday discussion for you to have.
Yeah. I'm like, Mom, you can't talk about how much everything costs right now because you voted for this. I don't want to hear it.
My mom just said that the other day. She goes, was just bitching about how much something was $8 or something. She's like, this is what you get.
Right.
And I said,
you vote for it. This is what you're going to get.
I said, tell your friends. Their head out of their fucking ass.
Yeah. But they'll somehow blame it on Trump. They try to spin it and blame it on Trump. All right, so let's move away from this. I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of feedback and comments on these specific topics, and I welcome it. Bring the hate. So we talked last episode about these gurus, or I like to call them furus, right? Fake gurus. And we see it all over social media about how they try to make it sound so easy to start investing into real estate, right? We're both in real estate. Obviously, you guys know I am. But they try to tell these. They make it sound like it's so easy to start investing in the real estate, right? It's so easy to go find private money. It's so easy to go find an investor. It's so easy to do the renovations. It's so easy to place a tenant. It's so easy to cash out refi and pull out equity. Besides all that, and it's not easy, right? I mean, it's easy once you've done it a number of times because you have those connections.
Yeah, but their numbers are wrong on everything.
Oh, 100%.
It's like those HGT TV shows that show
right,
people come in and they renovate and they do a bathroom and it's like $6,000.
Right.
I can't buy a bath. I can't buy the towel, the vanity, and the shower system for $6,000.
Much less the labor.
Unless you went to Lowe's and pull something off the shelf. But if you want like high-end stuff that we do, like and that frustrates me. And people are like, well, I seen this on Pinterest or I seen this online. Like, look, it's $6,000. And I'm like, okay, well, you pay someone $6,000 to do that. And you let me know what it looks like when you're done.
Right. Well, and that just goes back to, it's the highlight reel, right? Anyone can make anything look easy. But when you actually have to put your feet to the pavement and actually start doing the work, you realize it's not. Now, where I'm going with this is, these investors talk about just buying real estate, invest in real estate, invest in real estate, invest in real estate, right? But it's not as easy as just going and buying a piece of property or going and buying a house and investing into it.
Not now.
Right? Because you have to, buy it right? In real estate, there's a saying, you make your money when you buy the property, not when you sell it, right? But if you want to actually make money on the property, it really comes down to cash flow, right? Cash flow over a period of time while that property appreciates, and then you sell it and you get your bulk. You make your big money off of the appreciation on that property, right? But if you can't cash flow, that's the quickest way to go broke. But no one talks about property management, right? No one. You don't hear anyone talking about it. They just say, "Oh, place a tenant, and you cash flow." People have no fucking clue how hard property management is. We know the battle we have daily, right? And we own the property management firm.
The calls.
Right.
People don't think,
it's not as easy as just placing a tenant, right? People, you just place a tenant and you start cash flowing. No, it's not that easy. It really isn't. And property management really is the key to being successful if you have a portfolio of any size, because the cash flow, what you make after all expenses, is what gets you through day to day and pays your bills. And so if you're not cash flowing, you're going to go fucking broke because you still have your mortgage, you still have your insurance, you still have your taxes,
incidentals.
You still have your incidentals, your maintenance, your upkeep, everything, right? And so if you don't have a good tenant that you place that is paying their bills on time, that you can collect on time, then you don't have the money to pay your mortgage and all those expenses that you have. But no one freaking talks about it, and it drives me up a wall because that's like the most important piece. The most important piece isn't going and buying real estate. And they always say, just go buy real estate and wait. Wait for what? You can't just, okay, yes, if you have hundreds of millions of dollars or enough money sitting in your bank account that you can just buy a piece of property and not have to make money off of it over the next 10 years and let it sit there and appreciate, sure. But that's not the majority of people in this world.
Well, who's doing that has that kind of money like that?
Exactly.
That's just stupid.
You want a cash flow on these properties, especially if it's multifamily, because that's how you value the property. But and it pisses me off to no end. All these fucking fake gurus on social media, and there's so many of them, and I'm going to say majority of them are full of shit. Now, there's some that are good and know what they're talking about, but even them, they make it out to be way easier than it really is.
Well, I feel like the real good ones aren't on there talking about shit.
100%. Like, look at Sam Zell, right? And I don't know if you know who Sam Zell is. He's just passed. He's like the godfather of the REIT, right? He basically invented the real estate investment trust, right? Billionaire. He never sold a course, never sold a mastermind. He never had a conference.
Because he was making money. These people need this to make money.
Right. They're not making as much money off the real estate as they make it believe, because they're out here selling courses, selling masterminds, selling conferences, and they're going to sit there and say, no, I just want to help and give back. They're full of fucking shit. They have an ego, and they need to feed that ego by having a following on social media, selling these courses, selling these masterminds to put extra money in their pocket because they're not actually making it off the real estate that they own.
Don't get caught up in this shit. Go be a plumber, an electrician, and make real money.
Investing in real estate is great. And it can build extreme wealth. It's one of the best wealth builders there is out there.
Oh, I agree 100%. I'm just saying don't get caught up in the scams of all the other bullshit with these people.
So many people have made it out to be like, all you got to do is go buy a property, invest in real estate, and wait. And it's not that easy.
No.
If you don't understand property management and if you don't have a grasp on it, property management is the number one key to success when you are investing in real estate and building a portfolio.
Well, it's more than that too. You need to be versed in what you're looking at too when you go into buy a building or a house or a structure or whatever you want to buy.
And that also goes into property management, because you have to understand what things are cost. Otherwise, you're going to get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
You have to understand how to deal with tenants. You have to understand what things cost. You have to understand what constitutes an emergency or not. You have to understand what kind of cash flow you need to be making on a monthly basis. You have to understand how to calculate vacancy rates. You have to understand how to calculate maintenance reserves. Like, you have to have all this knowledge of real estate to be able to actually be efficient and effective at it. It's not as easy as go find a private money lender, go find an investor to give you your down payment money.
The hard money.
Go buy a property and rent it out.
The hard money lenders.
That doesn't tell anyone anything they need to know. But yet that's what you hear from everyone on this social media. And the thing is what they're trying to do is they're trying to then push them into their coaching course. Well, if you want to learn more and if you want your hand held, come sign up for my coaching course. It's only $9.97 a month. Or come to this conference. It's $8,000 a ticket. Or join this mastermind. It's $30,000 a quarter.
People are doing it though. Like, what you know what I mean? Like,
well, that goes back to what we talked about last episode. They're fucking gullible.
It must work for some of these people because
they're gullible. Oh, it works for a lot of them.
No, I mean the people that are actually going to these things.
No, the thing is that most of these people going to these things, they're like, I see it so often. They're like in this analysis paralysis stage, right? Where they're stuck and they just want to learn more and more and more as much as they can all the time, but they never actually take action and start implementing the things that they learn. So they just go to conference after conference after conference, or they take course after course after course. Exactly. So they don't actually take what they learn and implement it. They just keep trying to learn more until that they feel that they've learned enough. But they never learn enough. They just keep going back to more and more of these things. But that goes back to what we talked about last episode. Remember we talked about all the gullible people that get sucked into these, oh my God, this is what I need to learn. This is what I need to take.
Yeah, because they see the highlight reel.
Right. And they think by, signing up for this course or going to this conference or whatever, that they're going to, in 6 months, they're going to be where this person's at.
Not going to happen.
I can't tell you how many times people have said, Matt, you need to create a course. Matt, you need to create a mastermind. Matt, you need to build a conference. And I'm just like, I don't want to do it. There's certain people that I've taken on as individual mentees that I'll help, through the process. But I'm very picky. Like I need to feel confident that they're going to take the steps to do what I'm showing them and telling them how to do. And here's the thing. They also need to be self-starters and motivated, because I don't have time to hold their hand. Like they can reach out to me with questions or what should I do now? Or what do you think about this property? What do you think about that? And I'll give them my feedback, but then they need to be able to take that and run with it.
I think you need nothing to do with any of that shit.
I don't disagree. I don't want anything to do with it.
Honestly. I mean, I think it's fun to talk about and just nitpick at stupid shit that you see online, more you than me, but like,
yeah. And I don't mind helping people out, and I like helping people succeed. I mean, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah. I want everyone to do well,
yeah. Right? Why would I not want someone to do well? Like, I want everyone to do well. And if I can help someone get to that level or get to a point, I'll do it. And I'm not going to ask for a whole lot in return other than, the time that I spend, I need to have some sort of value returned to me. But even then, it's very, very little.
I just think
I know I kind of went on a tangent there.
Yeah.
But I just see it all the time on social media, and these investors talk about how easy it is. And it's easy now because they've built a portfolio. Maybe they have 100 doors, maybe they have 500 doors or whatever it is. And yeah, to them, it's easy now. But I feel like they're setting so many people up for failure because they're not painting the full picture.
Well, that's what they're.
But that's social media in general.
Well, dude, they're just trying to sell it. It's like buying a used car.
Right. They're just trying to sell.
You don't know who had it before. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No,
it's the same thing.
But it's just I saw something yesterday, and it's actually a guy that I know, and he's built a small little portfolio, and he does well for himself, but he's online talking about how, it's easy. All you got to do is find a property that's run down, find a private money lender, find a private investor to give you your down payment money. That's the hard part, especially as a newbie who's going to invest their money into someone that has no track record without putting any skin in the game themselves, right? You find a private investor to give you your down payment money. You buy the property, you go in and do the renovations. You now have a property that's worth $200,000, but you only have $100 and some $1,000 into it. And you cash out refi, and you pay off the initial loan, you pay off your private investor, and then you put a tenant in. And I'm like, yes, that's the process, but it's not that easy.
And finding a contractor.
Well, first of all, even someone new doesn't know how to value a property or run comps to actually determine what after repair value even is. They don't even know what things cost most of the time as far as what renovation costs are when they're walking through that property. They don't know what to look for when they're walking through that property to see what the big ticket items are.
Right.
They don't know what contractors are good or not good because they haven't built the relationship with any, and they haven't gone through the trials and tribulations of being fucked over by contractors and having money stolen. And even to this day, even 18 years later, we still get taken advantage sometimes from contractors. I mean, I'm going to circle back to this Aliquippa 4, I like to call it, right? And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But, they haven't gone through all that to even get to the point of having a property that is now worth X amount of money with X amount of equity into it that you can then cash out refi, pay off the original lenders and private investor to then even place a tenant. And then they don't even know the first thing about placing a tenant because one property, you don't have enough money to go buy. You don't have enough income off of it or cash flow to be able to actually go hire a property management firm. Right. So you don't know how to place a tenant. You don't know how to manage a tenant. You don't know how to screen a tenant. You're having
to deal with all that on your you
have to figure that out on your own.
But they're also handling that on their own.
Right.
Because they don't have anyone in place to do that.
Right.
I mean,
and so it really just got me thinking about, this again, it's the highlight reel. They make it look like it's really, really easy, but in actuality, there's so much more that goes into it. And I feel like they're setting people up for failure. And a lot of it comes down to the property management. Let's say you get through all that. Okay. Yeah, you have a few extra expenses. Let's just say your cousin's a good contractor, whatever it is, right? Let's say you've been able to clear those hurdles, right?
Right.
You get to the point where you cash out, refi that property. You have a little equity. You've paid off your original lender. You've paid off your original private investor. Now you have a property that, let's say it's worth, $250,000 and you put $175,000 into it. So you got $75,000 in equity, right? Then what? You still got a mortgage on it. You still got taxes you got to pay. You still have utilities you got to pay while that property's vacant.
Yeah. Exterior maintenance.
Right. Maintenance,
snow
lawn
removal,
mowing,
grass.
Right. Yeah.
Grass.
Right. So now you got to figure out how to market it for a tenant. Okay. Well, we'll throw it on Zillow and try to rent it out. Perfect. Great. Now you got applications coming in, but now you have no idea how to screen these applications.
Background checks.
Right. Background checks, credit checks, eviction checks, criminal history checks. You don't know what you're looking at. So how do you know how to place the right tenant? How much do you collect? Do you collect full month security deposit? Or do you collect half a month security deposit, which is what so many do, and then they wonder why they have bad tenants? Or do you collect security deposit first month's and last month's rent? Like, they have no idea. And then how are these tenants going to get, how are they going to be when they're living in that property? Are they going to be contacting you every other day because they can't act as an adult and figure out things that they have to do on a regular basis to maintain that property?
Yeah, my light bulb's out.
Yeah, my light bulb burn out. What do I do? Well, unscrew it.
Go to
screw a new one in.
Go to Target and buy a light bulb.
I mean, it's amazing the thing that people put maintenance requests in for. It's mind blowing. But that goes back to people not understanding that property management is the key to success.
But you don't need
in owning a portfolio of rentals.
But you don't need a property management when you're first starting. You don't
You can't afford it.
Yeah, but you don't need it for if you only have a couple units.
No.
I mean, when you get up into the hundreds, then that's a different story. Like there's no...
But it's those...
But then you're cash flowing enough to be able to afford to have
a firm handle it. Yeah, but the thing is, it's that first 10 or so properties that people have no clue what they're doing. And so those first 10 properties or so that you have no clue what you're doing.
We didn't know what we were doing when we started businesses.
I agree. But
I'm still learning 20 years later.
Of course,
like
every single day.
It is.
But what I'm getting at is people aren't talking about this enough. That's why I'm talking about it.
Because they don't want people to see the negative in it.
Right. But that's why I'm talking about it, because I'm the one, like, I operate as a contrarian, right? I'm looking at things the opposite way. And it's like, okay, everyone's talking about, just do this, buy a property and wait, invest in real estate and wait. And yes, it's a long-term game, but you have to be cash flowing and making money while you wait. And no one's talking about property management. No one.
I mean, plus rates now are fucked.
And it's the biggest fucking headache.
Rates are fucked right now.
Well,
too,
yeah,
so,
rates. But here's the thing. We're still making money and we're still buying new property.
Right.
It's just you have to underwrite it and you have to make sure your numbers work at today's rates. And then you have to stress test it. If you're on a variable rate mortgage or if you're only fixed for a certain period of time, what happens if rates go up or when rates go up? That's the problem that most people fell into over the last 3 or 4 years is they weren't stress testing their properties they were buying. They were only looking at it as best case scenario. When their rates reset and they went to the max of the rate cap that they bought,
their loan to value was fucked.
Exactly. Now they're upside down and they're negative cash flow. And it's these people that so-called experts in the industry that didn't even stress test their property when they were underwriting it, but they call them experts. They're not experts. They got lucky for a period of time. Because let's be honest, the market bailed them out for a very long period of time. Anyone, the 10 years from, let's say, 2011 through 2021, anyone could be bailed out that invested in real estate. If you made a bad buy because rates were so low and shit was appreciating so much, you would be bailed out. But the ones that didn't stress test between 2020 and 2023 are now the ones, even 2019 through 2023, that paid too much, bought at a really compressed cap rate. Well, now their debt's resetting.
Dude, people were going through the roof.
Now debt's resetting, and they are not cash flowing. People, investors are losing, $60 million properties, or operators are losing $60 million properties, $30 million properties, $40 million properties to the bank because now they're negative cash flow because their debt reset, and the investors that invested with them are all out now. They're all stopping their preferred distributions, and investors are up in arms. They're like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. Now, granted, it's a risk. There's always risk with investing. And I understand it from an operator standpoint. Look, if you don't have the cash flow, you can't pay your distributions out. They'll accrue and eventually hopefully get caught up, but you can't pay distributions out if you don't have the money to pay distributions out. I get it. But from an investor standpoint, now they're all worried that they're going to lose their investment. And so then you have these firms that come out and do what's called capital calls, where they go out to their investors that are invested and say, hey, we need more money from you guys. And investors are going to do it for the most part because they don't want to lose their initial investment. They're trying to bail out what happened.
They can save what they have left.
Right. And so, but so investors now are just like, they're cautious about where they're putting their money because it's a different market. It's a different economy now.
I mean, dude, everything's different. The world's different.
I agree. But that also goes to one of the things I talk about is make sure that if you're investing with a group, a private equity group, a private equity fund like we are, make sure that they have been through multiple markets, right? Make sure that they've been able to navigate through multiple different, market environments, up markets, down markets, neutral markets. The problem is that a lot of these newer groups
they haven't seen this.
They haven't seen this before. They haven't seen a down market.
No.
I went through 2008 and 2009 into 2010. I navigated that, which is why we're navigating it now without an issue. We also didn't buy heavy multifamily in really 2019, 2020. We didn't buy anything in 2020. We bought one property in 21. We bought one property in 22, multifamily. But our focus during that time was our affordable housing. Yeah, it was our affordable housing portfolio. Now we're starting to buy more multifamily. We didn't buy anything in 23 multifamily. We bought one so far this year. We have two more that we're under LOI on, and that's going to be another 216, 316, 300, basically 350 units to a multifamily portfolio, another 40 million by the time we stabilize and all said and done. But we didn't buy anything during those years. And all those guys were just doubling down on really low debt, but with very, very short rate lock periods. 3-year,
hoping
hoping
that it was going to come back. Now look where it is.
3-year arms, and now their debt's fucking resetting 3 years later, and their interest rates double, almost triple sometimes. They're not cash flowing.
No, they're going to be upside down.
That's the problem with social media, is these people make it look so easy, and it's not. It's not. I said it for a year. I said it for the last 2 years.
Being successful isn't easy.
No, it's not. And I said it for the last 2 years that anyone could have been bailed out from 2011 through 2021. Anyone. You bought bad, you were bailed out because the market appreciated so much and you had low rates. Times have changed.
Take notes.
It's mind-boggling. Like people's short-term memory is so short. So short. Like they forget what happened in 2008. Like they think the market's just going to continue to go and go and go and go forever. I was saying,
but 8 helped a lot of people too, because it let people come in and scoop up
100%,
scoop up properties for, fucking pennies on the dollar, and turn around and, those things are worth a mint right now.
Saying, right? Don't ever let a good crisis go to waste. If you know how, that's why, I posted a meme yesterday. With a guy just kind of staring there, like off into the distance, right? And it was who's that military guy? I forget his name.
Goggins or whatever.
Yeah, Goggins, David Goggins, right? Yeah. It's a video of him just going like staring off into space, right? And the headline was something like, "This is how the investors looked at it. Who've been waiting for the last 10 years for the market to crash to buy their first property," or something like that, right? And it's true, because you have all these people that, I'm just going to wait for the market to crash and buy. I'm going to wait for the market to crash and buy. And then 20 years later, they're still waiting for the market to crash to buy.
It's never gonna fully implode.
It's not. Real estate is probably one of the safest investments there is. Yes, you're going to have cycles. You're going to have corrections. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have some years, or where things crash, and that was 2008. But it always comes back. The problem is people are like, I'm waiting. Up until that point, they're like, I'm waiting for the market to crash before I buy. And then the market crashes, then they're too scared to buy. They're like, what if it goes lower? Well, it's always, real estate is always going to come back. It's just a time thing. You just got to wait. Be patient.
What's your line? Marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah, marry the house, date the rate. You can always refinance, over time, even if values drop. Look at the value. You have properties that dropped by 50, 60% in value in 2008. They're triple now what they were at their peak before those values dropped. That's not case in point that real estate always comes back. There's nothing that is. You have $1 million properties that in Florida that were selling for 200, 300, 400 grand that are now worth $3 million.
Dude, people were buying condos down there for 80, 90 grand.
Yeah. Look at data. Data doesn't lie. Look at the trends. Trends don't lie. Yes, you have dips, but things always come back.
Data doesn't lie. Don't take the shot.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know, Clark. What do you think?
I don't know. I think we got a meeting in Butler. In 30 minutes.
We do have a meeting in Butler in 30 minutes, so I think we'll wrap up here. Guys, it's been a good episode. Anthony, You know what we need to do? We need to get some guests on here. So we need to think about who we want to have on as guests. And if you guys want to be a guest on the podcast,
I agree.
Reach out to Anthony or I. You can DM me through Instagram, whatever it is. And if I don't answer, post a comment so I see it. We're always hoping to have guests. Virtual, we can do virtual guests. We can do in-studio guests.
You just can't wear a mask if you come here.
Can't wear a mask, and I don't want you to be vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you can't come into the office because I don't want you sitting close to me.
Yeah, we don't trust that.
Sorry.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time.
See ya.
Peace.